asked my daughter why she was failing math. 2 weeks later, her teacher was dead. My daughter had always been good at math, A's and B's her whole life. So when her progress report came home with a D-, I knew something was wrong. What's going on with math? I asked her that night, and she shrugged without looking up from her phone. I just haven't been paying attention. I'll do better. But she didn't do better. She started coming home and going straight to her room without saying a word to anyone. She stopped eating dinner with us. One night I heard her crying through the wall, and when I went in and asked what was wrong, she wiped her face and told me it was nothing. I scheduled a parent-teacher conference with her math teacher, Mr. Aldrich. He was charming when we met, a well-dressed man in his late 40s with a friendly smile and a firm handshake. He said my daughter seemed distracted lately, and he wasn't sure why. I'd be happy to offer her some after-school tutoring, he said. One-on-one sessions, just the two of us. I've had a lot of success with girls her age. On the drive home, I told my daughter about the tutoring and watched the color drain from her face. I don't want that. Honey, you need the help. Please don't make me be alone with him. My stomach dropped. What do you mean by that? She didn't answer for a long time, and when I asked again, she started crying. Then she told me everything. She told me what he whispered to her during class when other students couldn't hear. She told me how he'd stand behind her desk and press himself against her while pretending to check her work. She told me he said she could get an A if she came to his classroom after school and did whatever he wanted. She told me he promised that if she ever said a word to anyone, he would fail her and destroy her reputation and tell the whole school she was a slut who threw herself at him. My husband and I went to the principal the next morning and told him everything our daughter said. He nodded seriously and promised they would investigate immediately. A week later, Mr. Aldrich was still teaching in the same classroom with our daughter every single day. These things take time, the principal said when I called. We have to follow proper procedures. We went to the police and the detective said he understood our concern, but they needed more evidence before they could act. Right now it's her word against his, he said. My hands are tied. Our daughter had to keep going to his class while everyone investigated. Then Mr. Aldrich found out he'd been reported and the retaliation started immediately. He failed her on every assignment. He told the class she was his problem student and made air quotes when he said it. He followed her between classes, always just far enough away that it didn't look like anything. She came home shaking and begged us to let her stay home. We pulled her out of school completely. That night, my daughter posted a video on TikTok telling the whole story and naming him. By morning, it had 50,000 views. On Thursday night, the doorbell rang and my husband answered it to find Mr. Aldrich standing on our porch with a smile on his face. I think there's been a misunderstanding about your daughter, he said. Can we talk? My husband told him to leave and Aldrich pushed past him into our living room. You need to make her take that video down, he said, and his voice was completely different now. No one believes teenage girls. I have 25 years of perfect reviews and your daughter has a D- and a reputation for being dramatic. But that video is going to ruin my life if it keeps spreading. My husband told him to get out of our house. Or what? You'll call the cops? The same cops who told you they can't do anything? That's when my daughter appeared in the hallway because she'd heard the yelling. Aldrich saw her and his whole face changed into something I'll never forget. Take it down, he said, and he started walking toward her. Take it down right now or I'll make you take it down. My husband grabbed him by the shoulder and Aldrich spun around and hit him so hard he stumbled backward. They crashed into the wall and Aldrich got on top of him with his hands around his throat. My husband is a big guy, but Aldrich was out of his mind with rage. Then I saw Aldrich pull a knife from his pocket and hold it to my husband's neck. I'm going to cut your throat and then I'm going to do what I should have done to your daughter months ago, he said. My daughter ran to the kitchen and came back holding the biggest knife we owned. Get off him. Aldrich turned and looked at her and laughed. What are you going to do with that, sweetheart? She showed him. When the police searched Aldrich's house that night, they found over 400 photos of girls on his laptop going back 20 years and spanning 5 different schools. My daughter wasn't the first girl he'd done this to, but she was the one who finally stopped him. The police determined it was self-defense and no charges were filed.